Department of Agriculture. So it's just been it's been going on for hundreds of years. Just say it's been going on for hundreds of years. Yeah.
Well, hopefully, yeah.
I appreciate it. Bye-bye. 206-1580, toll free, 888-441-1580. So that actually kind of makes it that it's going to be possibly wet down here. It didn't give the actual our little region in Florida here. It just gave the whole southern region as wet and chilly. So we could be seeing more rain than we normally do
Well,
during the
and
winter
wet
months.
probably is a really good thing. Not not as much for us. I mean that's always good for us. But I mean those southern states that really were in drought situations the last few years. I would think wet is a positive thing.
Yeah.
For them.
But what will that do for us? Because like I said, normally things turn brown, get really dry. Will this maybe confuse some plants into continued growth?
No, I doubt that, because most of the plants that go dormant are doing it because the number of hours of sunlight are less, and that's still going to be true in the winter. So what it may mean for those people who have Bahia lawns, if we get more rain, they may have greener grass throughout the winter than they normally would have.
That's a good thing.
That'd be good. And it means for those people who've got St. Augustine lawns, they may not have to water as often. Because typically in the winter you don't need to water, because even St. Augustine goes dormant. It still grows, but not nearly as fast, obviously, it does in the summer. So you only need like about 3/4 of an inch of rain every 10 days to 2 weeks. So you don't have to run your water system as much either.
All right.
That could be a good thing. Costs us less money.
Yeah, definitely. Hi, caller. You're on the air. You bet. Does that depend on the type of palm?
Yeah, we'll back up, because I think one of the issues that happens frequently, probably more so in Charlotte County, is that a lot of the palms that are sold are for tropical areas. And so again, depending upon where you live in Charlotte County, you're probably, unless you're in the Punta Gorda area and south, going more towards Lee County, you're not in Zone 10. And most palm trees are designed for Zone 10. And those of you who go back to the north of the river or east of the I-75 are more in Zone 9. So one of the issues is we planted the wrong plant in the wrong place. But now, given that, what can you do to protect them? Well, obviously, if your palm is still small enough that you can cover it with a sheet, I mean, that's a good thing. What you need to protect with the palm is the bud, because that's where all the new fronds are located. So if there's some way that you can protect the bud of the palm, so I mean, even if you can't put a sheet all the way over all the fronds, if you can at least put a sheet or in a pillowcase or something around the bud of the palm, so I mean you can reach it, it's not too tall, that's going to give you some, help. I mean, there are all kinds of things about, making sure if you put Christmas tree lights around your palm, don't take them off. Leave them on long enough to, run your Christmas tree lights at night, because that'll give you just enough warmth, to keep things going. Assuming that that doesn't work, and we get back to the situation that we did have a few years ago, and especially it was really noticeable with what's called a Christmas palm, or the Christmas palms, again, had some real damage, and we're seeing years later some damage too on Bismarckia palms, which are the big silver fronds. Then the best thing you can do is, after the freeze has passed, is that you treat it with a copper fungicide drench, and literally you are pouring that copper fungicide down into the bud, or into the bud of the palm. The reason you're doing that is that you're going to hopefully take care of any of those other kinds of diseases that could happen because the palm's stressed. Fungus doesn't come because the palm, it was frozen. It comes because the palm was stressed.
All right. Hi, caller. You're on News Radio 1580.
And that is how I keep them alive. People ask me how I keep these tropical palms alive. Well, that's how I do it. And I feed them that, what you mentioned earlier, the 8-2-12 mixture. I use the slow release from Florican, which is dynamite.
Exactly, exactly.
And it has all the micro elements that are absent from our soil. I wanted to ask you about the preparation before freeze. If you would go into some detail about the pluses and minuses of pre-soaking the root ball in all of our plants, citrus and palms as well. And maybe you could, I'll hang up and you can give some explanation, the proper way and the proper timing in relation to the temperature drop that night, because I think I've screwed that up a few times, and maybe you could help teach us a little bit about that. And I'd like to answer Ken's question about Lyndon Baines Johnson receiving the Silver Star from MacArthur during World War II for a 13-minute bomb flight over New Guinea. So we were talking about presidential veterans earlier, and I just wanted to clarify that misunderstanding. But hang up and listen. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, am I first or you first, Ken?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, in response to your question about watering and all that, let me again back up. A happy plant is a non-stressed plant, and a happy plant is going to survive a freeze or frost so much better than one that's stressed. So obviously, you don't want, that's when we were talking earlier about pruning. I mean, now don't start pruning, and you don't want to do any of that. Watering, okay. And it's a little tough for me to answer that because most of us as homeowners don't have the right equipment, nor do we have the right temperature gauges. I mean, if you were to go out into the groves, you know that they're there all night long. They are gauging those temperatures all night long because temperature drop may happen at 3 in the morning. It may not happen till 5 in the morning, and it depends on how long that temperature drops. Given all of that, I guess what I'm about to say is to you as a homeowner or to any other homeowner, you know, it never hurts to water your plants before there's a freeze expected. But how much water and exactly when to do it, you know, typically with our cold fronts, the way they come down, they always come from the north. You always have north winds. So you probably want to do that watering somewhere, I don't know, 4 o'clock in the evening, afternoon, and then maybe even the next day. But again, like I said, it's so difficult to respond to that because, you know, you don't have any way of gauging how much water you put down, nor do you, you're probably not staying up all night long and watching those temperatures.
Unless you really got a lot of time on your hands.
Well, or you've got a lot of money invested.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely,
Yeah, a lot of
definitely.
money
If you're a
invested.
palm grower,
Mhm, yeah.
But again, yeah, and it would also depend on the microclimate that you're in too.
Exactly. So, for example, he talked about he had triangle palms and a Madagascar bottle palm. Both of those tend to be smaller palms when they first start, so they're a little easier, you know, to cover too. But obviously, if you live somewhere where you're trying to grow palms out of the region, I mean, if you're in Zone 9 and you're trying to grow Zone 10 palms, if you plant them on your south side, because the more southern exposure they have, the more, you know, those summer, well, not summer, but the winter sun they're going to get, and they're somewhat protected from those north winds that typically, again, look at the fronts come down from the northwest or the northeast. So if you've got your palms planted on the southern side of that exposure, they're probably going to survive better than they could on the northern side.
All right. 206-1580, toll free, 888-441-1580. If you have a question for the Master Gardeners, and with that, we'll take another quick break and be right back on News Radio 1580.